They say there are no stupid question, but what's the most stupid question you have ever been asked? I worked retail. A woman who did not have her child with her asked me if I thought a piece of clothing would fit her child. A friend of my parents asked me if I know him. He visited my parents while I was away to college, and I told him I was gone when he visited, but I saw pictures of you at your parents' house. You don't know me. I worked there during the no late FES asterisk era. If you kept a movie longer than 30 days it would charge to your account as a sale. If you brought it back after that, you'd be refunded the sale price minus a $1.25. I think restocking fee I had to deal with so many people complaining about the restocking fee, as if they thought arguing with a minimum wage register monkey would change the company's bait and switch policy. Yes, it's a fee for being late. Yes, it's disingenuous to charge the restocking fee while advertising no late fees. But you paid $5 and kept a new release for the entire 2 months it was popular. Karen. The store lost money because we couldn't print that copy to anyone else while you had it. So shut up and pay your dollar or go complain to corporate. Just leave my $8 an hour ass out of it. My sister once asked me if the humans killed all the Homo sapiens because they were stupid. Also, when she found out that you need more stamps to mail a big package, she asked how many stamps it would take to mail a car. My dad told her 50 as a joke and she just nodded her head and said, oh, that makes sense. She was in college when she asked both of these questions. Are you Asian or Chinese? One summer I made friends with 2 German girls who were on holiday. One of them messaged a friend of mine to ask my address so they could send me a Christmas card. He literally lived across the hall in my building. My address was his address -1, and he knocked on my door to ask what my address was. My friend didn't know what an STD was. He was 16 BTW. So he asked what it was, and I replied a sexually transmitted disease. His follow-up question was then, how is it transmitted? Is Germany in Russia? She was 16 at the time, and she had a young child. I still think about that kid, and it makes me sad at what little chance it has in the world. I come from Hungary and I'm aware how small and insignificant this country is compared to France, Italy, or Spain. But when a German colleague of mine, with a degree and at his 30s, asked if Hungary had been part of the Soviet Union, something died in me. Eastern Europeans tend to be sensitive about this topic, but still it was too much for me. After a friend of mine and I saw Godzilla King of Monsters, she asked if dinosaurs used to hurt people back in the day. Lol, she is 33. It was our first day at school and we were told to put paper and write our names on them so teachers would know our names. So the teacher called a person beside me by his name and that person was surprised and was like, how did he know my name? I pointed at the paper and he laughed just to cover up the awkwardness. I felt that. In 8th grade health we were learning the anatomy of the uterus. We are passed a graph with empty labels to name the parts. At my table, a girl picks up said paper graph and makes a twisted face. So, is this the male uterus or the female uterus? I try to stay patient with people because I know folk can be an expert in something and a dunce in something else. I mean, crap, if you ask me about Warhammer figurines I'd look like an idiot. But the amount of people who get hostile at me after asking and finding out that they can't take things like nursing, dental, anesthesia, etc. courses fully online sets my teeth on edge. I know that online labs exist, and a lot of programs are a combo of online/in-person. But when someone is like, why? After I say no, those generally aren't offered fully online, it takes all my restraint to answer because it generally requires in-person training. Instead of, would you want to see a nurse who never physically learned how to draw blood for your lab testing? Or that doesn't know how to operate a scale or a blood pressure cuff? Same with dental hygienists, etc. I don't want someone sticking one of those pointy hooks in my mouth if they've never physically touched someone else's mouth before. It's just common sense. Or it should be. caveat that I know a lot of BSN and MSN programs are online, but that's because those require someone already have their nursing license and associate/nursing diploma plus BE working in the field already. It's the RN and other licensure programs that require the in-person component because again, you need the physical training. Once a classmate, this was on year 10th or year 11th, asked me how I had managed to put ice into a plastic bottle. A friend of mine proceeded to tell her that there were YouTube tutorials on cut open and glue the bottle back together and that it was super easy. When I was in the USMC I was in La Light Armored Recon. We have labs light armored vehicles, they are amphibious, so yes they are part boat. During a dog and pony show I was asked this question. How deep can the water be for it to float? I thought he meant like at what point will it start to float versus drive. So I told him that the water needs to be around 4 feet for it to be used as a water transport. No, he wanted to know if it would still float if the water was really deep. No. So what I mean is if the water was like 100 feet deep would it still float? I just stared at him like really? Do you sell Coca-Cola products? The Coke cooler is outside, 8 inches away from the door you are currently leaning through. It has a 6-foot tall picture of a Coke bottle on the side. Your car is parked 1.5 feet away from it and facing it directly. I was talking with a few friends about Pride Month and I mentioned how I'm asexual. One absolute genius then asked me, what do you mean you're asexual? I saw you eat a hamburger the other day. Not the stupidest thing ever said, but I did have a serious WTF look on my face. I was in college in some basic science class and green energy came up. We were talking about different technologies we could leverage and wind turbines came up. Some dude asked how is it green if you need fuel to spin the turbine? Dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yesterday on a work Zoom call, training people how to use a new system. Everyone was issued a one-time password to log in and set up their account. It's asking me to confirm my new password. Do I use the one-time password or the new one I just set? If people don't like Obamacare, why don't they just switch to the Affordable Care Obama set in place while he was in office? I wish I was making that up. And there was no amount of explaining to get them to understand they're the same thing. My friend burped, and our other friend, who's a guy, was blown away. He didn't know that girls burped. It's been like 4 or 5 years, and we still make fun of him for that. Where does the electricity go when you unplug something? Wouldn't it leak out of the socket into a puddle on the floor? Thanks for watching. Subscribe or else you will have eternal bad luck.